All right, can we start now, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu wa sallam ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen, Nabiyyina Muhammad, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawm ad-din, amma ba'd. Yesterday we stopped at our discussion of Mufsidatu Siyam, Mufsidatu Saw. What are the things that nullify fasting? And we said the things that nullify fasting revolves around three major things, which are drinking, eating, and what? And in things that has to do with intimate relations. And the evidence for that is in the Quran and the Sunnah and the consensus of the scholars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ ثُمَّ أَتِمُّوا الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. So Allah says, فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ. Now you can get close to your spouses, have intimate relations and all that. When is Allah talking about? Allah is talking about night. وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا. You can eat, you can drink. حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. Until the real dawn comes out. ثُمَّ أَتِمُّوا الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Then after the dawn, then complete your fasting till the what? Till the sunset. So that tells us that anything eating, drinking, and intimate relations is to be abstained from during the course of fasting during the day. And we said other things have been joined, other things came to this, there are other things that the scholars have related to eating and drinking, and also intimate relations, which also fall under nullifiers of fasting. Is everyone following me, please?
Yes.
Guys in the class, are you with me?
Yes.
Amen. So, other things that the scholars have related to eating, drinking, even though they are not eating, they are not drinking, they are not intimate relations, but they are related to those things. So, in short, I'm going to save us the stress of reading all this. In short, it is either anything that goes into the belly, regardless of which opening it passes through, maybe through the nose, through the ears, through the anything that goes into the belly during fasting nullifies the fasting. Do we agree to that? Do we understand that? That's a foundation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anything at all that goes to the belly, except if it is mistake, that's another thing, and we are coming back to mistakes. But anything that goes to the belly nullifies fast. Another thing is that anything that comes through the eyes and through the nose, through the ear, and when maybe we insert somebody inserts something inside the ear or inside the eyes, and you feel the taste in your throat. You feel the taste in your throat, even though in the fiqh of the Hanbali school of thought, they said your fasting has become nullified. However, contemporary scholars, after looking at evidences, and said, no, there is no evidence for this. So, which means anything that comes through the eyes or through the ears, even if a person feels the taste of that thing, like you feel that thing, you feel that thing in your throat, does not nullify your fast. The like is the like of what is it called? What do we call it? Eye drop. Okay. Eye drop, air drop, and so on. So things we have to use it. What did you say?
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question, please?
Like, there's like some medicine that you take for like allergies and stuff that like you put it up your nose.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, and you feel the taste in your what is it called, in your throat?
Yeah.
Yeah. If the feeling is in your throat, okay. If the feeling is in your throat, that's okay. As long as it does not go on to your belly. Are you getting me? So why did the Hanabila school of thought, why did the Hanbali school of thought say if you put anything in your eyes, or you put anything in your ears, such as eyelid that you put in your eye, and if you feel the taste in your, what is it called, in your throat, it's going to nullify your fast. Why did they say that? They said, well, the throat goes to the belly, so we want to liken the belly to the throat. No, the scholar said no. There's no evidence for that. The only thing that the Prophet Sallam said when it comes to sorry, they said we can't liken the throat to the belly. The point of the point when we are going to say somebody has broken their fast is when something enters their what? Enters their belly. But as long as you only feel the taste in your what? You only feel the taste in your, what is it called? In your throat. All you have to do is just to try to, bring out the spit and spill it out, and you are good to go. So what we are saying in short is that anything that goes through the eyes or goes through the ears, even if through the what, even if through the nose, and as long as it does not get to your belly and the feeling is just in your throat, then your fasting remains not your fasting is not nullified. So you can come across people who say no, it nullifies the fast. Yeah, they have their own say, because especially if they are following the Hanabila school of thought. Are you following me, everybody?
Yes.
Any other question?
No.
All right. Now, so we have explained all this, and we said anything, however, regardless. Wa alaikum salam.
Abdul Giyas.
Ahlan.
Quick comment.
Okay.
Some scholars have the opinion that, especially if such insects through the eyes and the nose are not meant to nourish the body, they are not meant to relieve you of hunger or thirst. That's additional to the fact that it's not going into your stomach. That's the reason why they believe it should not fall under the category of something that invalidates your fasting. Also, some commented that if we can be able to make wudu washing our face, you can take shower, we can rinse our mouth while fasting. At the same time, such will not be responsible for breaking our fast. Allah Alam.
Now, thank you so much, sir. So, and more importantly, the scholar saying of no, we can't say anything that goes through the eyes or through the ears, because there is no evidence basically on that one. The evidence comes through in something that goes through our nostril and gets to the belly. So, however, even if any other thing from any other part gets to the belly, that's a fundamental knowledge. Anything that goes to the belly, it nourishes, it does not nourishes. Okay, but what the Hanabila school of thought are saying is that no, not just the belly, even if it gets to your throat. So that is why other scholars come in and no, if it does not get through your belly, it only stays in your throat, most especially if it's not something that nourishes. Here comes the addition. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And also, the Hanabila school of thought, they even added that man ihtaqana. What is al-ihtiqan? Al-ihtiqan, like we said yesterday, is a rectal medicine. You know, they said anything that a person uses through their rectum nullifies their fast. Because why? Because it's a connection. Because it is going to it is a pathway to, what is it called? It is a pathway to the stomach. If it gets to the stomach, it nullifies it. Other scholars said no, you can't say that, because initially the rectum does not go straight to the stomach. So those differences. We are saying this so that you don't get surprised when you see somebody having a contrary opinion. However, the what we call the more correct opinion that has evidences is that anything that does not go into your belly does not nullify your fast, even if you feel that thing in the what? In your throat. Most especially if the thing is not even something that gives nutrient to the body. Going forward, I will start. Another thing that's going to nullify the fast is that al-qi. فإذا استدعى القيء فخرج منه بتعمد فإنه يفطر بذلك. Vomiting. Okay. Anybody who pushes himself to vomit, like intentionally causes what makes him vomit. Maybe he insert his finger in his throat and thereby he vomited. This is due to his own action. Okay. All right. And this looks like something intentional. In this case, the fasting is going to be what? Is going to be nullified. This is because the Prophet ﷺ said, and hadith Abi Hurairah marfu'an, من ذرعه قيء وهو صائم فليس عليه قضاء وإن استسقاء فليقضي. Okay. وَلِأَنَّهُ, so they said hadith of Abu Hurairah marfu'an. When they say hadith is marfu', it means the connection, the chain of connection, the chain of transmission of that hadith reaches the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is, the chain is complete from Abu Hurairah to the Prophet to the one who related that hadith until we get it. Man dhara'ahu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever happens to vomit without his own action. Maybe the person is sick and suddenly he started to vomit and he couldn't control it and he vomited. This person is not going to pay back his fast, which means what? The fast is not nullified. However, if he himself was the one who caused the vomit, intentionally, if he did something that caused him to vomit, knowing that this thing is an action that causes a person to vomit, the Prophet said, he should pay back his fast. And that means the fast is what? Is nullified. Also, وَلِأَنَّهُ إِذَا وَقَعَ مِنْهُ ذَلِكَ فَإِنَّهُ يَضْعِفُ بِهِ. They said also because if a person causes himself to vomit, most time, he gets weak from that. In short, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ has told us that if a person causes himself to vomit, then nullifies his fasting. Another thing, man istamna أو باشر فأمنى أو أمذى أو كرر النذر فأنزل أو كرر النذر فأنزل أو حجم أو احتجم وظهر دم عامدا ذاكرا لصومه فسد لا ناسيا أو مكرها. Now, they said, if anybody is stamina, what do they call it? If anybody causes himself to ejaculate, in other words, like what do they call it? Masturbation. Are you getting me, everybody?
Yes.
So if anybody causes himself to ejaculate, or like plays with what is it called? The person plays with his spouses and all that fa'amna, to the extent that the person ejaculates, or amdha, or to the extent that the person semen comes out of the private part of the person, or karrara another fa'anza, or this person sees an opposite gender and he continues to look at them until he ejaculates. Subhanallah. Are you following me, everybody?
Yes.
أو حجم أو احتجم وظهر دم. Or this person, what is it called? He performs cupping on somebody, or he himself performs cupping. he performs cupping on somebody, or cupping is performed upon him, and blood comes out. And all these things we said, Amidan, he did them intentionally. Dhakiran, remembering that he's fasting. Fasada, his fasting has become null and void. Not that he forgot, or not that he was compelled. Understood? Not that he forgot or he was compelled to do all these things. If he did all these things, istamna, masturbated, bashara amna, played with his spouse and until he ejaculates, or amza, releases some semen, or another intentional look at an opposite sex and ejaculates, and he performs hijama, cupping, or cupping was performed on him, and zahara damun, until blood comes out. Intentionally. Wa alaikum salam.
Before we move forward, I just want to ask this question. Do everybody understand what cupping is?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then when you say he performs it on somebody or it's performed on him, does that mean if I do it to somebody, my fasting is not valid? Even if that's my profession, like those who are nurses, if that's what they do for a living? Or you are saying if you do it on yourself, like I did cupping on myself, or cupping is done on me? Is that what you meant?
Yeah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Aftar al-hajimu wal-mahjum. The person who performs cupping upon somebody, the person who performs cupping, wal-mahjum, and the person who cupping was performed upon, the both of them, the doer and the receiver of the action. So the Prophet
that means
said,
those who are in the profession of cupping, they would not have a job in Ramadan.
The Prophet said the both of them, their fasting is broken. However, in the other three, what is it called? In the other three madhab of Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, they said no, because they have other what is it called? They have other evidences to take this away. They said no, a person who performs cupping, or the person who cupping was performed upon, is not going to do what? Does not break his fast. Why? Because they have some this hadith does not reach the level of authenticity of what they are going to accept. This is clear to everybody, but the hadith for those who are going to act upon the hadith is that what the Prophet said, this person who performs cupping, like the professional, and also the person who received the cupping, the action of cupping, the act of cupping, the both of them, their fast is broken. Is this clear now, everybody?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my third question, talking about those who initiated vomiting, that their fasting is not valid.
Mm-hmm.
When they actually pay the fasting, are they going to pay back 1 or pay back 60?
No, it's just going to be 1. Yesterday we said, when we are starting our Mufsidat as-Sawm, we said the nullifiers of fasting is classified into 2. Who can remember, or who can remind us what we said? The 2 classifications. Does anyone remember? We said some nullifiers of fasting. Some of them obliges what? Everybody?
Tawbah, or
expiation. Tawbah,
yes,
just Tawbah. Some of them obliges expiation.
Atonement.
Okay.
Sorry.
Atonement, exactly. So فيه ما يوجب الكفارة وفيه ما لا يوجب الكفارة. So some nullifiers of fasting obliges atonement and some does not. And what is it called? The person causing themselves to vomit or any other thing we said here does not oblige kafara. So one does not have to do any atonement. They only have to pass back, while they also seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for intentionally what? For intentionally causing themselves to break their fast. So the only thing that causes expiation when a person breaks their fast due to that thing, the only thing that causes expiation is a person who has intimate relation with their wife during fasting. That is the only thing evidence comes upon, that a person has to what? A person has to fast and also do so, which we are coming back there. As for so does that answer the question, sir?
Yes, I just wanted that clarification for them.
Okay. So al-istimna, we said al-istimna طلب خروج المني باليد أو ما أشبه ذلك. So we said whoever causes himself to ejaculate such as masturbation, والمباشرة أي أن يباشر زوجته وتمس البشرة باليد أو الضم أو التقبيل. Okay, even if a person, any form of intimate relation that comes between two spouses, even if it is kissing, that causes the person to do what? To ejaculate, remembering that he is fasting, intentionally. All right. That is why our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, the hadith here, it's not here. She said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to kiss her even when he is fasting, alayhi salatu wasalam. And he said, because he has Allah has given him the capability to control his own heart, so it doesn't lead to another thing such that it's going to what? Nullify the fasting of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Is everyone following?
Yes.
Now, okay, we've talked about this. Now we said يشترط للفطر بما سبق من المفطرات ثلاثة شروط. So three things for everything that we have talked about. And everything we have talked about that nullifies fasting, three conditions must be complete before we can say, oh, this thing you have done, your fast is what? Your fast is gone. Number one, adh-dhikr, the person must remember. If the person does not remember, maybe he forgot his fasting and unfortunately he ate. Of course, he forgot his fasting and he ate. He even take some drink and someone came from hot sun, maybe someone who is living in the Middle East, it's very hot and he came from hot sun and he entered, he forgot his fasting, he ate, he drank and he slept. And once you woke up, you remember that, subhanallah, it's Ramadan. That's forgetting. Subhanallah, Allah is so merciful that he excuses such a person. All right. Is my voice there, everybody?
Yes.
All right. The second condition of all these actions nullifying the fast is that this person al-ikhtiyar bi-an yakuna ghayra mukrah. This action has to be done by a person's choice. It must not be a compelled action. And when we say compelled action, like you are being compelled, or else something is going to be done which is going to harm you. Like somebody points a gun to you now and said, oh yeah, break your fast. Are you with me? So if a person does all of this action because they are compelled in such a manner that will harm them if they don't, they are compelled and they don't have the power to how do they call it? To defend themselves. They don't have the power to defend themselves. So they are compelled, and the person does any of these actions we have talked about since. Okay?
Defend or resist.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They don't have the capacity to resist this act of the person who compelled them. Then this person is excused. So one condition is the person must remember. The person must do all this action out of their own choice, and also the person must have the knowledge Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Man kafara billah min ba'di imanihi illa man ukriha wa qalbuhu mutma'innun bil iman walakin man sharaha bil kufri sadran fa alayhim ghadabun min Allah wa lahum 'adhabun 'alim." The evidence for the fact that if a person is compelled to do something, then Allah is not going to hold him responsible for doing that thing. The only time Allah is not going to hold him responsible, and also is not going to be held responsible in this world when it comes to the act of Sharia, except if it has to do with other people's what, other people's life or other people's properties. If somebody compelled you, so this person is not going to be, might not be held responsible for being compelled and doing that thing, but this person is going to be responsible for that thing, to return that thing back. For example, somebody compels a person compels you, maybe a person points a gun at you, that I'm pointing a gun at you, kill this person. If you kill the person, the qisas is going to be done upon you. Okay, in the case of killing, there's another ruling. But somebody points a gun at you and say, this person has money, throw fire into that money, and you did. Okay? In this situation, you are going to be responsible for that money. All right? And also, the person, there's a responsibility for that, because your own life is not more special than the other person's life. So why would you preserve your own life? Why would you, waste another person's life to preserve your own life? But here we are talking about something between we and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if somebody is compelled and they were not able to carry out the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is so merciful that He forgives. The example is like that of the Ammar bin Yasir radiyallahu ta'ala, and the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the son of Sumayya and the son of Yasir, whom Abu Jahl took him and was going to kill him if he did not denounce Islam. And at some point, when he could not take the pain again, he said, I denounce Islam, I'm no longer a Muslim. And Abu Jahl set him free. And immediately he ran to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, I denounced Islam when I could not take the pain I was seeing from Abu Jahl. The Prophet ﷺ said, it did not get to your mind, right? So long it did not get to your mind, then I forgive you. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being merciful. So now we are saying, if all of this action were done out of being compelled, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful, and in such a way, the fast of that person is not going to be deemed nullified. Are you following, everyone?
Yeah.
The third condition for us to say the person's action is going to nullify their fast is for them to have the knowledge of the fact that this action nullifies fasting. Okay? Maybe a person is a new Muslim, who just accepted Islam yesterday, and today is Ramadan. Is Ramadan compulsory upon him, or he should rest a little bit?
It's compulsory.
Or should we say, oh, you're a new Muslim, come on, because you are not used to Ramadan, you just have some rest? No. Immediately he became a Muslim. Allah has been merciful enough not to hold him responsible for everything that comes before his Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Islamu yajubbu ma qablahu. No matter what the sin of that person, before they accept Islam, once they accept Islam, Allah forgives. So now, immediately they accept Islam, they become mukallaf. As long as other conditions of being a mukallaf is there, such as the person has reached the age of puberty, and also the person has their mental state intact. And now they become a Muslim. Remember, we said, what are the conditions that makes a person comes under the obligation of fasting? Muslim.
Muslim age,
Reaching,
their and they're sanity.
reaching the age of puberty, and stable mental state, and also being capable of fasting. Being capable of fasting. So the only reason why a new Muslim that accepted Islam yesterday will not fast today as first of Ramadan, maybe because he has not reached the age of puberty, and we say fasting is not compulsory upon him yet. Or maybe the person does not have the capability to fast. When we are talking of capability here, is the thing Sharia what sanction, such as maybe the person is sick, or the person is a traveler, or the person is what is it called? The person is in his old age. The reasons why Sharia allows a person to break their fast. So if any of these conditions, is none of these conditions is missing, all the conditions are complete, then the person has to fast. So now this person is a new Muslim. He does not know anything about Islam and is fasting. He does not know that if a person is fasting, you can't do some things of those things we have said. Then he did them. Are we going to say, oh, your fast of today is gone, you have to repay it back? No. Why? Because this person is excused because of ignorance. Is that clear, everybody?
Yes.
Now another thing is لو طار ودخل إلى حلقه شيء بغير قصد ولا يمكن التحرز منه فلا يفطر ذلك كما لو دخل ذباب أو غبار أو دقيق أو. Now they said if anything enters your throat, of something that you don't have you don't control, but it enters your throat and enters inside your mouth and goes down without your own intention or without your choice, in this case, your fast is not going to be nullified. For example, you are going, maybe you're in the desert, and the wind is really blowing, and it blew some sand into your mouth, and unfortunately, before you could know it, it entered your throat and all that. In this situation, your fast is not going to be nullified because all that happened without your own action, without your own choice, and you did not control that action. Is that clear?
Yes.
أو فكر فأنزل. إذا فكر الصائم فوقع منه إنزال بمجرد التفكير أو أنه أنزل باحتلام فإنه لا يفطر. والدليل إن الله تجاوز لأمتي ما حدثت به أنفسها ما لم يتكلموا أو يعلموا به. Now, the other time we said if a person The other time we said if a person looks at an opposite gender, look at them again and again and again and again until the person ejaculates, is it going to nullify their fast?
Yes.
Yes. We said yes. Now, in this case, if a person thinks about an intimate action, perhaps with their spouse or anything at all, or sees something that aggravates their sexual urge, but immediately they took off their eyes, or this person sleeps and had a wet dream and ejaculates. In this case, this person is not going to, the fasting of this person is not going to be nullified. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna Allah tajawaza li ummati. Allah has overlooked for my ummah ma haddathat bihi anfusuha. Anything that goes on in their mind. Allah does not hold us responsible for what we think. Although a Muslim is encouraged to always have the best of thoughts, of others, of himself, of things, but Allah does not hold us responsible for what we think. As long as we did not say them out. Once you say it out, If you say something like call zur, something that is not good, if you say a word of kufur or a word of shirk, or you abuse somebody, or you curse somebody, you are responsible for that. The angels will call it down, and you are responsible according to that thing you said out. But what stays in your mind? مَا لَمْ يَتَكَلَّمُ أَوْ يَعْمَلُ بِهِ. Allah does not hold us responsible. But what comes out of our mind, of our mouth, or what we acted upon, then Allah holds us responsible. That is why we say anybody who thinks about sex, this is not encouraging. We are only saying from the point of, what is it called? From the point of the ruling of the Sharia. Is it good? Is it good? Is it permissible to be thinking of, funny things while fasting? That's another topic. We all know the answer to that, okay? But we are talking of the Sharia now. If it happens that somebody thinks about, something funny, and unfortunately, and before you look at it, they ejaculate. Or a person has a wet dream and, it's time for Salah, let's round off. Or a person has a wet dream and they ejaculate. In this sense, they are not going to be held responsible, and their fast is not going to be what? Is not going to be nullified. What is the difference between this and the other one that we said? If a person looks at a person and continue looking until they ejaculate, their fast is going to be nullified. Who can deduce the difference?
Because one is intentional, the other one is not.
Allahumma barik. Now we said the difference between the first thing we said is that one is intentional. When we said if a person thinks about funny things and and such happens, or they sleep and have wet dream and wake up, that is not something intentional. Number one, the thinking is not something Allah holds us responsible for, and the wet dream is not something intentional. But continuously looking at somebody or something that springs up urges, it's something intentional you decide to continue to do, and you are held responsible, and your fast is nullified as a result. Few seconds, please. All right. So is that clear, everybody?
Yes.
And we know the difference between the two now.
Yes.
All right. Allahumma barik. Let's conclude here, inshallah ta'ala. Any questions so far?
No.
All right. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.